and it's their intrinsic
And then,
nature.
this food basically robs.
Sound feasible, sound like out America. Now, some of y'all probably seen the whole news report that was done on DeSoto, Texas, where you got about 51,000 people who live there, and the median household income is about 60,000, a year. But here you have a town, you have a place, a community full of rich, successful African Americans who basically came together in this area, and it has a black mayor. Everybody is successful in making good money. There's no crime. There's no problems there. So it was shocking to me that they actually did a report on this, and it got me to do a lot more research into looking around America at the other many successful African American communities. You have a lot of successful African Americans in Atlanta. There's a lot of communities that's like full of mansions, black people. I mean, you got to think about all the successful basketball players, entertainers, and stuff like that. That's one. But then you got to remember how many African Americans have been graduating from college over the years and becoming successful and doing a lot of great things, and, becoming doctors and lawyers and stuff like that, and, making really good money. And of course, they moved out of the hood. They moved somewhere where it was other black people. Well, I can see if you have a case where it seems like all the black people who make money, it's just moving into white neighborhoods or moving into, other neighborhoods. But you have all over America successful African American neighborhoods. You have a Uniondale in New York that's successful. Whitmore, Maryland, got the median household income is about $100,000 a year. You have Ladera Heights in California. You got U Park, Windsor Hills in California. That's supposed to be like the most successful African American community in America. But you have a whole bunch of successful African American neighborhoods that is predominantly black. I mean, in DeSoto, Texas, you have 55% of the businesses there are owned by African Americans. So, I mean, stuff like this, when you find the numbers and you find out that these places exist, then it gets you to thinking, why aren't people being taught about this? Why isn't this should be taught in African American schools? To me, that is so huge. It plays such a huge role in the thinkings of young African American men and women growing up, understanding and knowing that even though you see in the media, even though you see all across television the success of Europeans or white people or what have you, that there does exist that same kind of success, amongst African Americans, and it's spread throughout America. You just have to understand that it's not being talked about. So the backlash in African Americans moving out of the ghetto or the hood and going somewhere that's nice and better, better equipped to raise children is, they are coons. They sellouts. Oh, they ain't giving back to the black community where they came from or what have you. And the whole thing is, what that whole thing is about is those African Americans really understanding where they came from. Now, it's a difference between understanding where you came from and, where you grew up at. What was the community really about? Because you can be successful and come from a community that was bullshit. I left that community because I know it was full of drugs and crime and stuff like that. And, I just want to get far away from that kind of stuff. So how do I give back to that community? I mean, what can you do? When people say, you got to give back to the black community, it seems as if they want successful black people to come knock on all black people's door in the community and give them a check. I mean, so they can go act like they can blow the money on something stupid and act like they balling. I mean, what exactly do you want to happen? The things that black people want to happen in the African American community or want from these successful black people are things that you are supposed to get from, your community leaders, your elected officials. And because if a rich black person comes back to the black community, even if he does like give out toys and food and stuff like that, that's one thing. That's cool. That's going to help some people out. But how is it really going to fix the problem? And the problem is bigger than, cutting black people or checking the black community or coming back to the black community and, feeding people or giving them toys and stuff like that. It's bigger than that. It's an economic problem, an economic issue. Because now, if I come back to the black community and I'm rich and successful, and let's say, okay, I want to open up some businesses. You got black people again with the mindset is, I don't give a fuck. Fuck him. I'm trying to get money. I got to do what I got to do. So I'll open up this business and it get robbed, or I fear for the safety of my employees. Is the black neighborhood going to protect that black business? Are people going to come in and always want a discount? What's going to happen there? And the whole thing is when you try to bring in this level of sophistication and business to a community full of people with the mindset of this hip hop culture, it doesn't work. And it's almost too dangerous to try unless you just really got that kind of money. But no real successful black person is going to, invest that kind of money in such a place, because to them it's, it's hit or miss in certain cases. So you don't know. Now you have some people. Styles P opened up, I think it was like a juice joint in New York, somewhere in New York. That was cool. That was what's up. You have a lot of African Americans who open up, successful African Americans who open up businesses, and near the black neighborhood or even in the black neighborhood. Each case is unique. It's different. It's for whatever reason, but you don't see it in a predominantly, really, really bad black neighborhoods. In the black stores that I do see that's in a black neighborhood, I mean, you got niggas standing in the front of it. You got people who disrespect it. Or when you walk into the place, it's not, it don't seem as legit, so to speak, or, right, correct, as a business. And I'm not trying to, put my people down by saying that, but it's like, damn, if you're going to open a business, like make it look like a business, like you're doing something. It's a good thing you got a store, you got a business, and you're doing something in the community, but make it look professional, make it look correct, right, and so people can respect it. Because as soon as you have a store and you open it up and it look hood, people are gonna come in there and think that you don't give a fuck. They're not gonna really respect it, and this is the issue that you see in a lot of cases. But the problem, again, is bigger than, a rich black person coming to the black community and cutting a check. It's bigger than that. It's bigger than somebody coming back to the black community and open up businesses and stuff like that. It's bigger than that. It's education that must happen first. And it's the mindset of people must be changed. And the community must unite and come together for something like this to exist, to even happen. Because if the community is not united, if the community is not full of, stand up good people that's going to make this stuff work, then what is the point? And that's the hard part. That's the dangerous part right there, especially when, a lot of communities is split. You might have some people who are Muslim, some people who are Christian, some people who are atheists or what have you. So those things come into play. What should we spend the money on? Oh, well, we should build this or we should do that. Oh, well, you can't serve this kind of stuff. It's going to be problems, but we can't just look to, it's so many people who say that. It's whenever I hear people say, oh, well, he don't come back, he don't do nothing for black people. I mean, what can you really do for the black community? Now, I think by now, African Americans, if you didn't understand before, then you know now that the game is rigged. It's been rigged for, centuries. And we have to work extra hard to be successful, because of the color of our skin and the stereotypes that, we face. We have to be, extra careful in the decisions that we make in life and the careers that we choose, the people we hang around, things of that nature. We have to act accordingly. And I always say that because people act like they don't understand what's going on and they don't see the problem and, everything is new to them. I mean, you see what's going on. You see the way things are and have been before you was even born. So you have to act like, accordingly, because one, we scream, it's a stereotype. We scream about, white privilege and everything like that. And people understand this. So the whole thing is, if you understand that there's a such thing as white privilege, then you have to act accordingly. You know you can't do the same thing and get the same results. You know that it's people out there who don't want to hire you, who don't want to give you a chance because of the color of your skin. So you can't sit back and cry about that. You can't sit back and scream that this is wrong, this is unfair, when it has always been this way. You have to act accordingly because these people want to act like this. Okay, I got to go around all that. I got to do something different. I have to work harder to be, to beat them, to be more successful. And, it's not so much about it being like a competition. It is what it is. It's the way that it is. It's your reality. And in order to change that, everybody need to have that same mindset of being successful. Success beats everything. I mean, how do you get a person to listen to you? How can you give advice to a person if you yourself is not successful? And that's how people measure advice. When rich people talking, everybody want to listen. When a broke person talking, don't nobody give a damn what they saying. So everything is success. You want people to get off your back, stop talking shit about you. You kill them with success. It's just that simple. They still going to talk shit. They still going to hate. But at the end of the day, you're successful. So they just hate. What can they really say about you? So we understand this. We know this. So we have to act accordingly. And the problem is people are using the excuse route. Oh, the system is this. The system is racist. The system. We know all this shit already. You knew it already. If you didn't know, then you know now. So now, what are you going to do? You got to change your mindset. You got to get your head out of all that ghetto, nigga shit and think success. Think outside the box. Be competitive in everything that you do that involves success. In each aspect of your life that's going to be successful, that's trying to be successful. If your goal is to have a 9 to 5, then that's what you're going to have. You're going to have a job, a job, paycheck to paycheck. You need a career. You need to do something that you love to do. And, that's going to give you the kind of lifestyle that you want. You don't have to settle. And this is the problem. Everybody looking at the situation as if it's too hard. And, the only way I'm going to get rich and famous and successful is if I shake my ass, if I rap. And we are not glorifying enough our successful African Americans who are doing good in business, who are scientists, lawyers, doctors, and stuff like that. And because of this, because we glorify the hip hop culture and everything like that, everybody's trying to go that route. And it seems like this is what people believe is the only way they can make it and get that kind of money that they see these celebrities have. And it's other ways, other things that you can do to be rich and to be successful. Now, as I said, if I can make it, anybody can make it. I grew up poor. I grew up in the worst kind of way. Not everybody is going to join the military like I did. I joined the military and, went to college and everything like that. But even still, when I got out of the military, I wasn't rich. I still had to work and grind hard. And, when I started, doing my own business, when I created my website and everything, trying to get people to, to get clients, a black man with a software company, turned down everywhere I went. Go overseas to Sweden and get a bunch of clients. People didn't care that I was black. They didn't care about the color of my skin. They just cared about the work that I put out, that I did for cheaper than, the other people. And I did good work. So I got a lot of clients. And not everybody can do that. Not everybody is going to be able to have, the same success as everybody else. But if you try, if you put yourself in a situation where you have the education and you have the tools needed to go be successful, then you're going to be successful. It's just that simple. Make the right decision. You get yourself grounded and a place where you're stable. Then follow your dream. Don't follow your dream being broke. That's not smart. It's not intelligent. Don't follow your dream with no support. That's not smart. It's not intelligent. Become stable first, then follow your dream. And, if you don't, then you can't complain about, where you end up at. So some people feel like that, you are abandoning people in the black community when you become successful and you leave. You know, some people, there's levels of success. The people who leave and they get a good job and they can afford to move to a better place. I mean, that's not abandoning the black community. That's like, I got a better place to go. You know, I can't afford to, you know, really give back. I got to afford, you know, this new lifestyle. But then you have people who become like, you know, celebrities, multimillionaires, rich people. You know, do they have an obligation to give back to where they come from? And you can't really force a person to give back anything. You can't force a person to give money to the community they come from because you don't know the experience they had in that community. Sometimes people might have had a bad experience in the community they come from. They don't want to go back. Sometimes people, you know, they have a disconnect with that community. They didn't like it in the first place, or they felt like, you know, it's not worth coming back and putting any money into it because it's so far gone. So you don't know the circumstances of a lot of communities that people come from, or the situation that a person had or lived in some community. So we can't always say that, you know, everybody has to give back because they made it or they got this kind of money. Now, if they are putting money in places that do benefit black people in other places, then I mean, there you go. They don't got to necessarily give back to their community, but if they give back to the black community somewhere else, you know, that's fine. And, you know, you can't really expect all black people to do it, even though it might be a moral thing where morally they should be like, you know, really look out for where they come from. And let me tell you some of the things that I have done, and I'm responsible for getting so many people's pardons and helping people get their record expunged. That's one of the things I was doing when I first finished law school. One of the things I helped a lot of people out with was the whole process and getting a pardon, getting your whole complete record clean after 5 years, 7 years in certain cases, and helping people get their life back and get good jobs. Because there's some people out there who actually committed crimes because of, you know, the situation they was in. Yeah, I sold drugs. I had to do this. So now I got caught up in something. I spent some time in prison, but then, you know, I understood once I went to prison the way the world works, how things is. So, you know, now that I'm out, I want to get my life back together. I help a lot of people go to college and get money for school. I know about that whole process, you know, well, at least in Philadelphia, you know, how it works as far as getting the, you know, the grant money and getting the money for school, the whole FAFSA and all that, the Pell Grants and everything like that. So that was another thing I helped a lot of people out with, because I was going around, I was talking to people and telling people like, hey, you know, you need to go to school, the government to pay for it. You know, it's your best bet at this point, because what you have is you have some people who come out and they come out of prison and they down, they feel defeated, they feel like their life is over and they can't do anything. But in a lot of cases, if you can keep your nose clean, you know, for 5 years, get a job, volunteer, do community service, go back to school, you know, finish your, you know, diploma or get a degree. And then when that time comes and you go through the whole process for a pardon, they actually assign you a parole officer who comes out and looks at your life and monitors the things that you've been doing since, you were set free. If you don't have any new cases and you've been doing good in the community and everything is all good, you done kept a stable job, you got a house or what have you, then yeah, they submit everything to the governor, and it's possible. I've had a lot of success and people getting full pardons and having their records wiped clean and clean slate. Then, since they went to college and got that degree, it's not holding them back from getting, you know, a really good job. As I said, I grew up in, you know, the hood. I grew up in the black neighborhood. I grew up poor. You know, I sold drugs for a little while. I did all that. I understand about that lifestyle and everything that entails. So when people see me now, you know, people who find me on Facebook and stuff like that and see what I'm doing. They look through my pictures and see what I have done and everything I've accomplished. Most people that was in my neighborhood knew I was going off to the military, but a lot of them, I haven't seen a lot of them since then because they was in that life. It was about that lifestyle. They were selling drugs or what have you. But when they see me now and see the success and see what I'm doing, they always ask for advice. A lot of them reach out and I help them the best way I can. I try to steer them in the right direction. That's really all I can do is tell them, what's the best course they should take. And I get a lot of people ask me questions, business questions about things they should do. And, it's funny. It's weird when you grow up looking at a person as, being major or somebody who you thought was like, ghetto superstar. And then now you see them working in Walmart.